Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. So first up today, we have the Charging Interface Initiative, or CharIn, a little upset about the Tesla and Ford partnership. In response, they've come out and said the global EV industry cannot thrive with several competing charging systems. CCS is the global standard and, unlike the NACS, is future-proof to support many other use cases beyond public DC fast charging. Also, unconsolidated announcements of changes create uncertainty in the industry and lead to investment obstacles. CharIn does not support the development and qualification of adapters for numerous reasons, including the negative impact of the handling of charging equipment and therefore the user experience. Let's pause for a second. First, CCS is not the global standard. My argument would be China. 2, even if it was a global standard, does it really matter that much how many cars transfer continents once they're delivered to the end customer? And if CharIn was really that committed to the user experience and how they handle the actual equipment, well, they would be in support of the NACS connector. It's smaller, it's cheaper, it's better, and the supercharger network is the most reliable and it's not close. Which leads us to the most laughable quote of all from CharIn: public funding must continue to go towards open standards, which is always better for the consumer. I think what they meant to say was, we don't care what happens to the end consumer, we just want to keep getting our public money. So there you have it. And when it comes to the United States, these other automakers have huge decisions to make. If history is any guide, I would not be betting against Elon and Tesla, and now Farley and Ford are on that team as well. Over the weekend, Wuhua reported on Sunday Giga Shanghai was shut down for one day, and now everybody is speculating that it's for the Model 3 Project Highland production. Wuhua also said that Shanghai laid GPS jammers, so drones close to the factory will lose GPS positioning, so maybe there is something driving around that they don't want people to see. If you're in the market for a new Model Y right now, personally, I would be trying to get one with the hardware 4. Brandon said he talked to a Tesla rep and they ran some VINs saying that the discounted inventory cars with hardware 3 are the ones with a discount, and those without a discount might be hardware 4. When it comes to ordering a new Model Y through the configurator and not new inventory, there are some rumors out there that there are some camera shortages for the upgraded cameras that go with hardware 4. So to get a new Model Y through the configurator with hardware 4, it may be a few months. Again, that's just a rumor. Just do not use this discount indicator as a surefire thing. Always have them check the actual VIN. I'd imagine you've seen by now all Tesla Model 3s now qualify for the full $7,500 federal tax credit. But if the rear wheel drive is still using batteries and packs from Shanghai, how are they doing this? It could be as simple as Tesla is still using the Chinese LFP cells, but they're actually assembling them into modules and packs here in the United States. Or if you look in the code, it could be this: for purposes of calculating the qualifying critical mineral content for batteries in a group of vehicles, a qualified manufacturer could average the qualifying critical mineral content calculation over a limited period of time, like a year, a quarter, or a month, with respect to vehicles from the same model line, plant class, or some combination, with final assembly in North America. In other words, if Tesla has enough critical mineral qualifying content on that same Model 3 line, maybe over the course of the next year, they can use that to actually offset the part of the rear wheel drive variant that may not otherwise qualify. Either way though, at the end of the day, none of that matters to the end consumer. Because the base Model 3 now qualifies for a full credit, some rumors started circulating that CATL had been cut out of Tesla's supply chain in North America. But CATL came out quickly and said that is not factual. No change has happened on the strategic partnership between CATL and Tesla, as it will further advance in a sustained manner. The Model S Plaid was back at the Nurburgring with the track package, and it broke Tesla's prior record, which was set back in 2021. That time was 7 minutes 35 seconds. This time, 7 minutes 25 seconds, taking off 10 seconds. And before this record, the Porsche Taycan held the production EV lap record of 7 minutes and 33 seconds. However, for what it's worth, we have Misha Sharudin on Instagram saying this Plaid's record is already broken. I can only guess the announcement will follow on the 75th birthday of someone or something or sometime soon. So I guess there's a chance that Porsche has already taken back the EV lap record, we just haven't heard it announced yet. We'll keep our eyes open. Along those lines, the Model S track package is already out of stock. Father's Day is right around the corner, and Ekster, the sponsor of today's video, has you covered. I've exclusively used an Ekster wallet now for the past 2 years or so. This bad boy has become my go-to, and I love it. The card fan feature is awesome, and it's held up incredibly well. This one has a custom slot for an Apple AirTag, so I can easily track it from my devices in case I misplace it or Ashley runs off with it. If you use my code Electrified, you can get up to 40% off your purchase for Father's Day, and the same discount will be there if you want something for yourself. They have a huge selection of wallets, and more than that, they have overnight bags and all kinds of accessories like this MagSafe holder that I'll use if I'm just running a quick errand. If you'd prefer a super slim smart wallet, they have solar powered trackers that you can locate with your phone, and you can use the tracker to find your phone. It's pretty neat. Ekster wallets do have RFID protection, and I know every company today says they use high quality material, but Ekster has proven it to me over the past 2 years. And yes, checking out sponsors is one of the best ways to support the channel, so if you're interested, the link is in the description below, and you can use code Electrified at checkout for up to 40% off. Some of you may have already thought that in Canada, Tesla users were finally going by per kilowatt hour billing instead of time-based billing, but that's really not the case. Why? What do you know? A complicated government process delayed the launch of kilowatt hour billing. But now we may finally be close as we see this in the Tesla mobile app. This device is temporarily authorized to be used for the purpose of obtaining the basis for a charge for electricity under the terms and conditions established by Measurement Canada. So hopefully in the coming weeks, per kilowatt hour billing should arrive at superchargers in Canada. This quote from Mary Barra was in that article I shared on Friday. I should have mentioned this line though. She said that EV battery costs are too high to build profitable mass market vehicles that sell between $30,000 and $40,000, and predicted EV and ICE parity would come sometime in the latter part of this decade, maybe a little longer. Which, yes, implies that the upcoming Chevy Equinox that's supposed to start at $30,000 could be losing money for 5+ years. I want to highlight something on one of these charts from Roland. At first glance, it may seem like Tesla is destroying the numbers it did in 2022, and that's true, but there's a reason for it. Production from Giga Shanghai in February, March, April, and May in 2022 all had asterisks. China's Spring Festival fell in February of 2022, which was about a week long, and then March, April, and May all had downtime due to the COVID shutdown. So looking at those months in 2022, you can see that the production for each month was below, and in some cases significantly below, the 70,000 or so capacity it would be operating at under normal conditions at that time. However, if you normalize for that downtime and take what the exports could have been, it was around about 60,000, so Tesla would still be ahead of where they were in 2022, just not by this absurd amount. And we have a similar story here when it comes to German registrations, and we'll look at May of this year compared to May of 2022. Scrolling down to Tesla, it says they were up 1,696% for the reasons I just mentioned. And since we're here on the right, we'll look at the year-to-date change, January through May, where it says Tesla is up 84.6%. We get the Tesla China wholesale number for May, 77,695. Here's that data plugged into the table. I won't spend time comparing it to the prior year, but compared to Q1 of this year, we are about 13,000 vehicles ahead of where we were through the first 2 months of Q1. The orange numbers are estimates for the domestic deliveries. I just took the data we have from the weekly insured data, and that left about 3 days at the end of May that I don't have in there. So this number should be a few thousand higher, meaning this one may be a few thousand lower when we get the final numbers in the next few days. My short takeaway: Looks good. Another FYI, something I would be doing if I had a brick and mortar location, you can apply to host a supercharger location, which of course you would eventually show up in the navigation when people are looking for superchargers, which could drive more business to your store. Sadly, there's not much publicly available on how this would work and what the incentives are, so if any of you actually go through this or you're in the know, please shoot me an email. I would love to learn more, but this will be below. Tesla has yet again updated the loot box in the referral program. If you use someone's referral code to buy a new car before the end of the month, you can get around $1,000 off a Model S or X and 3 months of full self-driving. Also, for the referrer, the loot box credits have gone up for the Model S and X up to $20,000 per transaction. And yes, my code will now be down below if you're interested. Right now in the United States, especially for EVs, Fiat is basically a zero, but its version of the 500e in Europe is actually one of the best-selling EVs. I say that because Fiat is bringing back the 500e to the United States in 2024, and they're going directly for the blue ocean in the entry-level price point, saying Fiat is not a brand that demands a high price. There's no huge following for the brand, so you have to define it as affordable EVs. What should we expect? Something polarizing, niche, and unique, so not huge production numbers.
We're really struggling with this because the utility industry in the U.S. is every utility has a different jurisdiction geographically, and we have to come up with a pricing mechanism so to reward people to take electrons out of their vehicles during peak. Tesla has its own energy company, and so it doesn't strategically. It probably will never have two-way charging. Because it wants to sell its power walls and charging system. But at Ford, we have no ambition to go into the power industry and energy storage. So for us, this is a really important thing for our country and for. But we've had a lot of difficulty. I mean, there are a lot of press releases, Robert.
Yes.
But you look at like how many people are selling electrons back to the grid. It's
very
few now, and that's very frustrating for us.
As Jim just said, Tesla has an entire energy division which is charging full steam ahead, and he said Ford has no ambition to do the same getting into the power market.
If I explain to, the listeners how crazy our software system is and why it's so difficult for legacy car companies to get software right, I'll do it very quickly. So to save probably $500 a vehicle, or let's say 350 quid a vehicle. We farmed out all the modules that control the vehicles to our suppliers because we could bid them against each other. So Bosch would do the body control module, someone else would do the seat control module, someone else would do the engine control module. And we'd have about 150 of these modules of semiconductors all through the car. The problem is the software are all written by, 150 different companies, and they don't talk to each other. And so even though it says Ford on the front, I actually have to go to Bosch to get permission to change their seat control software. So even if I had a high-speed modem in the vehicle and I had the ability to write their software, it's actually their IP. And I have 150, we call it the loose confederation of software providers, 150 completely different software programming languages. All the structure of the software is different. It's millions of code, and we can't even understand it all. So, that's why at Ford, we've decided in the second generation product to completely insource the electrical architecture. And to do that, you need to write all the software yourself. But just remember, car companies haven't written software like this. Ever. They've never written software. So we're literally writing how the vehicle operates, the software to operate the vehicle for the first time ever. We have been building the battery plants. It's hard to scale battery plants. Like I have to tell you, building the plant's the easy part. But actually building cells in high quality at high scale is much harder than we thought, even though we've been building stuff for 120 years. It's a lot harder than we thought.
I'll say it again. I love Farley's candor and humility. Full interview linked below. What a perfect segue to this tweet from Elon. Tesla aspires to be as helpful as possible to other car companies. We made all our patents freely available several years ago. Now we're enabling other companies to use our supercharger network. also happy to license Autopilot FSD or other Tesla technology. It just feels like a really exciting time in Tesla and that something pretty big might happen here over the next year or two. We've talked years about Tesla's lead in software and FSD and AI. Well, we're getting to a point where that finally starts to pay off. This Ford partnership is a huge deal and a step in that direction. And now the choice is left to the rest of the automakers. Who is going to get on board the Tesla train? Do the other companies really think they can outcompete Tesla in software in the long run? It would be a massive paradigm shift for these other companies, and it makes this feel like the best decision. We'll see. Don't forget, check out Ekster, linked below. Take advantage of that discount for Father's Day if you're interested. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.